I put a spell on you. Help me. Control oh, you better stop those things that you do. You better watch out. I ain't lying. I ain't gonna take no young. No, I ain't taking you. Oh, that putting me down. I put a spell on you. Oh, because you're mine. You're mine. I put a spell on you. Because you're
Hi,
mine.
Lou.
What's up, Patsy?
Let me get rid of this. That would be Samantha Fish, by the way, in case you're
I
interested.
was just going to ask you if that was Samantha Fish because I recognize the voice.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to recognize her without her, what do they call that? Cigar box guitar, right? But yeah, and if you're not listening to her shit, you're missing out.
Yeah, she's good.
She's really good. Uh, yeah, there's those blues folks. I like to say blues guys, right? But it's not necessarily true. They don't get the recognition, that's for sure.
Yeah, you got Susan Tedeschi too. That is very good.
Susan Tedeschi, I saw her live. I saw her and Bonnie Raitt live.
Did you? You saw Bonnie Raitt too?
Oh my God, was she amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was absolutely amazing. There's another one. Oh, she's Ukrainian actually. Um, Anna. God, why can't I remember her last name? Anna.
Anna Popovic.
That's it. That's it. Yep. Anna Popovich. Fuck, is she good? She's better
There's
than.
there's a woman I think out of Chicago that's what the hell is her name? She isn't classed as blues. She's probably middle age. She's a heavy set woman, but you should hear her play rock guitar.
Really?
She's been to these festivals, and I'm trying to remember her name because the first time I heard her, I'm like, my God, she can play.
There's a few of them that just they grab your ear, right? And you're like, holy shit, who is that?
You know, but in this day and age, it's you got to have the appearance too.
Well, yeah.
And if you didn't, if you just listen, you know, because I listen to the music, I'm like, man, I can tell when somebody's good or not.
That Anna Popovich is going to be in at Kent State next month.
Oh, is she?
Oh yeah, I so want to go see her, but I doubt I'll be able to. Uh, this Samantha Fish. The only reason I got turned on to her was I was just going through some shit, right? And, you know, because every now and then, like YouTube does shit right, and they kind of throw things at you that you never heard before. And she was covering Black Sabbath's War Pigs. I was like, I got to see this, right? I literally up until this afternoon, I never even heard of her, but it was like she's covering War Pigs. I'm like, okay, I got to try it, right? And I was really impressed. I mean, obviously, you know, the vocals weren't there, but the guitar player, and you knew she was blues, so you knew she was going to cover it in, you know, 7 chords, right? But boy, did she rock it out! And I was
Yeah,
like,
she's in the 15th. She's in Akron,
who? Which one?
and Anna Popovich.
Yeah, yeah, the 15th.
And
She's
then she's actually at the Kent stage on August 18th.
You know who else is there a week before her? In Kent? A week before her? Donnie Harris.
Oh, really? He's playing over in Kent.
Playing over in Kent. Guess whose tickets are more expensive?
Probably Anna Popovich.
Yeah, Donnie Harris is almost twice as much.
Oh, are they?
They are.
He said
Anna Popovich, her tickets are only $20.
he was on the radio last week, and he said this is the first time in a number of years they actually had to practice because they didn't play. I think I saw his next to the last show before COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah, up in the Robbins Theater in Warren, Ohio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
And you know what? I'll tell you what, he put on a hell of a show.
He still does. He's what? Well into his 60s, isn't he? If not
How
older.
about he's just turned 77?
77. Okay.
I think his birthday's in March, but let me see if they're showing any shows now on this. Right now, no.
A bunch of people posted a whole lot of his shows on YouTube.
He played when he played there. It was they redid that old Robbins Theater. It was built in the late teens, early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to restore it as close as possible to original, except the sound system. And I'll tell you what, he was about, when they started, his first 2 or 3 songs, I'm sitting there like, man, something ain't right. They're not mixing this right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It just a little muddy. I'm thinking, okay, somebody better get on the ball. But once they zoned it in, it was about 3, 4 songs in. I'll tell you what, the sound was fantastic. And I think it had to do, it was a double tiered theater. And I think it was getting the bounce somehow.
Mm.
They had to correct because the guy I was with, he walked upstairs. He said, you should hear that sound up there because we were down low. And I'll tell you what, he played for 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah.
He played.
You know, Lou. When I tell you, when it comes to like are things. When I tell you, I've seen everybody. I've seen everybody. I never had a better time than at a Donnie Iris concert. I must have seen Donnie 40 times. I'm I'm telling you, his shows were still the best. I can't. I mean, we almost had like standing reservation. Now this is back in the late '80s, early '90s. And Master Grant will know what I'm talking about. At Nick's Fat City, right? He was there down the strip like every weekend, and just like I said, my roommate was his paper boy. So we got in all the time. Never had more fun than I had at a Donnie Iris concert. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I've seen him a number of times. Not 40, but I've seen him.
Well, we were getting in for that. We were getting our tickets at the door for nothing.
Oh, well, that's a good way to get him.
We just ask Mike, the guy we shared a house with. There were 7 of us. It was just like, just tell me how many tickets you need, and Mike would be like, I need 5. He's like, yeah, they'll be at the door. Just use your name. Okay.
Hi guys. So, what were your favorite Donnie Iris songs
Oh, geez.
or song? What's your favorite?
You know what? I've heard some of his so much. It's like, yeah, they're good, but the ones you don't hear that often. How about Back on the Streets?
Great song.
Broken Promises.
Better song.
And you know what? You don't hear this one all the time much either. Is Sweet Mary Lee?
I love Sweet Mary Lee. That one and
Not like Aaliyah or Love Is Like a Rock, but Sweet Mary Lee and
Do You Compute? Great song.
that was okay.
His last like really big one, which is going back, was Little Black Dress that he did with the Cleveland Cavs. Their cheerleaders were actually in the video, and that's a great tune. But Injured in the Name of Love and Riding Thunder are probably two of my favorite Donnie Iris.
Yeah, Injured in the Game of Love, and That's the Way Love Ought to Be was a good one.
Great song.
You should have seen, you know what, that last one he did, I was telling you about before Master Grant got on over in Warren, Ohio. They had 3 drum sets up on stage on back risers. They played, I've seen 2 drummers together. They were alternating drummers till later in the show. And I've never seen 3 at the same time. It was unreal to watch.
Do you know? Whenever the last show I saw before I graduated college, the last show of his I saw, he had one drummer, but he had a second one that came out and they played together during Love Is Like a Rock. And guess who that second drummer was?
Who's that?
His daughter.
Oh, I never saw her.
She had to have been 12 at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Now, what's Donnie Iris's most nationally known top 10 song that people outside of Pittsburgh would know?
Aaliyah, I think, was the top.
Aaliyah.
That was national.
He actually wrote. He was in Wild Cherry, Master Grant. So he Play That Funky Music was his.
And so was the rapper.
The rapper from the Jaggers. Yeah, that was his too.
That's another Pittsburgh one. But Play That Funky Music, White Boy,
Yeah.
was probably the most famous, I think. Aaliyah, how did that go?
There's no way in hell I'm going to do that.
Sing it.
Let me see. I don't sing. I have a good ear for music, and I know how bad I am.
I'll find it on YouTube. All right.
Summers
I seriously doubt I'm going to get a strike for this.
$14.99 and under.
So this is a.
Because this was about, what, 1980, 81?
The one I was going to play was whenever he was at what do you call it? Over in Ohio, the The one that's the open. You can get lawn seats there. It was before Star Lake.
Oh, that was Cleveland, or not Cleveland, Cuyahoga Heights.
It was Cuyahoga. Yeah, it was Cuyahoga Heights.
Cuyahoga Falls. That's when he was young.
1981.
81, yeah.
It's been a long, long time, it's such a sight. You're looking better than a body has a right to. Don't you know we're playing with the fire? We can't stop this burning desire. We are. Here we go again. Here we go again.
I'll tell you.
So why are we talking about Donnie Iris?
We just are.
I don't know how we got on it, but
You know this, and even back then, this was his side gig. You realize that, right? This was
Yeah.
still. He was a loan processor for a bank forever. Ever tell you that story? Whenever I was working after I got my degree.
yeah.
No, I told you that. Master Grant, did I ever tell you that story?
No.
Oh my God! So this is years later, right? I mean, I'm either married or like just before I got married. So it was Nick wasn't born yet, and I think Lisa. We had to have been married. We had to have been married by then. And we had done the engineering. I was a civil engineer at the time, and the engineering company that I was working for had this survey that was done. This bank ordered this survey. Okay, so this and they wanted this survey, so our guys go and do it. And I had the loan officer that had called the office, and this was my project, so they put him in touch with me. And I'm sitting there at the time, and my boss, Ross, who was my boss at the time, was at my desk whenever he called, and the loan officer asked for the status of the survey, and I said, well, we're just finishing it up now. And he said, okay, whenever you get done with it, can you let me know who it is? And it, you know, when it's done and you know, what you came up with and yada, yada, yada. And I said, yeah, what's your name? Who should I ask for? He said, just ask for Donnie. And I said, Donnie who? And there was this long pause. And next thing I hear is this Patsy? And I said, yeah. He goes, son of a bitch, it's Donnie Iris. Oh my God, you're kidding me. Because, I mean, that's how many times we saw this guy. We were backstage with the band and everything. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I mean, and this had to have been 10 years later, 12 years later.
So did you ever ask him where the music was inspired from? How he got it, like that song?
No. No,
He
never.
You completely had all that access to his beautiful, his wonderful musical mind, and you didn't bother asking him.
So here's a bit of trivia for you. Did you know the first hit by Bon Jovi was written by, was it Mark Absick from his band?
Yeah. Yeah.
He wrote this, and after somebody said that, I mean, you know, I said, you know what? I can tell after they said it. What the hell? What Bon Jovi song was it? It was like one of the first ones that hit. It was in the 80s too.
Runaway?
I think it was Runaway.
Yeah. That was the one they got in a whole hell of a lot of trouble on MTV because they had like an underage girl running down the street and like her jacket was open and she never brought so you could see her tits. They got in a whole lot of trouble about that one.
Those guys are. That's New Jersey for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you know, like I
I'll
know.
tell you a story. We were down in the Stripwood. It had to have been a Friday night, right? So it was me and three other guys that were in the house with us, and Donnie's on stage, and it was Donnie and the Clarks were both there the same night. Okay, so whoever the lead singer for the Clarks were got up on stage with Donnie. This was after they did their set, and Stevie Van Sant was on with them too. He just jumped on stage from
Springsteen.
from Springsteen, right? If you remember him from The Sopranos. But yeah, and he jumped on and then out of the blue, just totally out of the blue. But those guys, Joe Krashecki,
Yeah.
they were all really, really tight, and they would just, I mean, it was a great scene. It was an absolute great scene. Those guys were amazing. If you missed it, shame on you, because you missed a great scene. Problem is,
Talent there.
yeah, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable talent. And like I said, this was what was the name of that song, the Clark Cigarette? That's whenever that first came out, right? So DV was playing the shit out of that, right? Because they played it like every other song. It was Jimmy Crenna that really played it like every time he turned around.
Well, that's when they were allowed to play what they wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. It was absolutely amazing. The fact that Lisa stayed with me knew that, yeah, that was it, because I was such an ass then. But it was a great time, and those guys were unbelievable. And I can't remember if Donnie was divorced then or not, or who was just going through the divorce. That's why he had his daughter at some of the shows, because he had her for the weekend, right? Shit like that. But yeah, it was something. Anyhow, I didn't mean to get off topic, but it was great. It really was. It was great. And you're 18, 19, 20 years old, right? You're eating this shit up like it's candy. Right? These guys are they're doing their gig, they're going home and going to sleep. You know. They gave a shit less, because you figure he's 70, what'd you say? 70?
He just turned 78.
78, right? So I'm 53. So he's got 25 years on me. Whenever I was 18, 19, 20 years old, he was already well into his 40s. You know? I didn't care. It was still a good time. Speaking of good times, you guys remember Michael Avenatti?
Yeah, I hear he's going to jail.
Master Great, remember him? He was who was the porn star's attorney?
Oh yeah.
What the hell was her name?
Stormy Daniels.
Stormy. Yeah.
It was Stormy Daniels, and then he turned out to show everybody what a real piece of shit he was, and tried to blackmail Nike for some shit. Well, he's going to jail for 2.5 years. For attempting to extort Nike. This is according to CNN. Lou, we said at the time, we knew this guy was a piece of shit, right? He was just a convenient piece of shit because he was on our side. A federal judge on Thursday sentenced him to 30 months in prison for attempting to extort millions of dollars from Nike. He rose to fame as Stormy Daniels' lawyer, was convicted in February 2020 of 3 counts for threatening to publicly accuse the sportswear company for illicitly paying amateur basketball players unless Nike paid him. Again, according to CNN, U.S. District Judge Paul Gardeffi said during sentencing, Mr. Avenatti's conduct was outrageous. He had become drunk with power on his platform, or what he perceived his platform to be. Well, we can get into a lot about this, but Lou, I'll start with you. We had said this guy's a piece of garbage, and we always knew it. He was just a real thorn in Trump's side, so we were more than willing to egg him on.
Yeah, I mean, how did he hook up with her? I can't even remember
I can't either.
where she found him.
Well, I mean, come on, her standards aren't going to be very high.
Well, higher than Trump's.
Oh.
I don't even know how she ended up with him or what happened there. Because wasn't he out of L.A. too?
Yeah,
Well,
she
she might have been too.
yeah, she might have been at the time. Master Grant, is there a lot of hype about this? Because yeah, I mean, he rose to fame as Stormy Daniels' attorney, and I don't think she was ever more popular than whenever she decided to expose, for lack of a better term, her dealings with Trump. Does this shock you? Are you surprised?
So my feeling is for this is excellent fodder for the Trump team to say vindication.
Yeah,
This guy was just after me for money, like he was after Nike, and he should be in jail for me too. Yeah, this is excellent fodder for him. Never did anything with that woman. Yeah, just perfect. Couldn't write it any better.
Lou, you think this solidifies his victim status that he's always trying to push?
Well, he was convicted. He should have been in jail. What the heck? That's why Cohen went to jail over that. That was the deal that got Michael Cohen in jail. He was the unindicted number one.
It was co-conspirator, right?
Co-conspirator number one or whatever it was. He'll play victim, but he wasn't. You're right.
So what this is going to do is it's going to empower everyone who believes that Trump is the Messiah, and let's not pull punches. It's what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just another vindication that the left, the Democrats are out to get them, and a little bit of justice was served. This is coming from their point of view, which I'm probably going to be hearing about tomorrow.
Lou, he makes a good point.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be fodder for Tucker or your brother-in-law tonight, right?
I'm not related to that human piece of garbage in any way, shape, or form. And if I was, I'd be jumping off a bridge.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I could see them bringing that up tonight. What's Tucker been the last week? The NSA was purposely spying on him, trying to play victim, only to find out he's in contact with the Kremlin.
He was in contact with the Kremlin, yeah, and you know what? I almost have to give him a bit of a pass here, as much as I fucking hate to do it, because he was looking for an interview. At least that's what we know so far, right? So he was in contact with them in order to get. Now, you can ask the question: why the fuck would you want to have an interview with Putin? Right? I mean, let's be honest. Why the hell would you? But assuming that's what he was doing, and by all counts, so far, that's all we know is he was attempting to do this. It shouldn't be a surprise that all his communications now are being monitored and scrutinized, because he's now dealing with a adversarial government. Master Grant, this shouldn't be a shock that his shit was compromised, let's say.
I think you're right to give him a pass on this because, yeah, he I hate to say it. I really hate to say it. But, I mean, he's doing journalistic activities.
Or at least make it look.
I feel like throwing up right now. I feel like I want to throw up.
But why did he deny it to begin with?
Right. Well, yeah, there's a lot of scrutiny to go around.
Well, it's obvious why. Well, it was CYA. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions that need answered, and only he can answer them. But if we're taking his word that he was looking for an interview, a story, or whatever, okay, fine. Then he should not be too terribly upset that the NSA was reading his emails and tapping his phones. If you're in a position that he is in, where he can make a connection to the Kremlin in order to get an interview, the fact that these folks are going to be watching and reading and sifting through his communications now shouldn't be a shock, should it? I mean, he should know that was going to happen. And if he didn't, that's not on our government. That's on him. And that's on his fucking network.
Yeah, I agree, because, he has a national audience. He has millions of people that view him. And he's got a podium where he can really dictate policy, dictate thoughts, dictate how you're supposed to think about things. And so, yes, he should be aware. And if he isn't, he's not naive.
No.
He knew. I think he's looking for a spin, to be honest. He's looking for a way to spin this around.
Sure he is. Now, it goes back to what Lou was insinuating earlier. Why spin it? Right? Why spin it? Why even go down that road? What's the end game there?
Unless, well, this is a possibility, unless he is such a moron that he actually believes that, oh no, people think I'm communist because I'm trying to reach out to Putin. And he's actually scared that he's going to be labeled as a communist.
Maybe, but don't forget, he's one of the bigwigs of the network that's pretty much controlling what the narrative is literally every day.
Well, like I said, I'm just guessing.
Yeah, me too. Lou, what do you think?
Well, being that 99% of his audience doesn't know the definition of communism, and since Russia no longer is communist, that makes sense when you think about it. They haven't been communist since 1991, I don't think.
I don't think so either. Right.
You know what? I just look at the whole network as a lying piece of festering shit that's now coming out with a weather channel on top of it to tell you there's no climate change, probably.
Yeah, how the fuck did... Are you kidding me? They're making a weather channel now? When I saw that, honest to God, I thought it was an onion.
I got to apply for that position. I
thought it was an onion. I thought it was an onion article.
Did you see the snippet from Murdoch? He more or less said that we have to push back, that the climate change ain't a big deal. I'm paraphrasing.
Why? Why is it so hard to accept that that's happening? And Master Grant, here's the part I never understood. If this is an opportunity, why are you not jumping on this and being the person who's dictating how this thing's going to go instead of fighting, instead of saying it's not happening?
Because they're seeing the money today, not the investment needed. What do we always say about Republicans?
Yeah, they see the short game. They don't see the long game.
They only see the long game when it comes to power and authoritarianism.
Yeah. And then the Democrats fuck up the long game. Master Grant, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you be pushing this thing and being the person up front that's just raking in the money? And you can actually do it even passively, mate. You don't even have to, once you establish everything, you can just sit back and let it all flow in. What am I missing here? This is an opportunity for everybody involved to make, and I'm not kidding and I'm not exaggerating, a fuck ton of money. An absolute fuck ton of money. All you got to do is let everybody else do the work. Just set up the infrastructure, and it's all yours. You have it all. Why are these people fighting this? What's Murdoch's game?
I think he's on the crazy train. I can't figure it out.
He still thinks they're shoveling coal into train locomotives.
And the internet is just a series of pipes.
Oh, man.
This is an opportunity for any of these clowns. And I'm not talking about Bezos and who's the other asshole with SpaceX. I'm talking about like established traditional money to just make a killing. It's all right there for them. They already know how to do it because they've been doing it for the last 150 years. And so instead of pointing at X, you're pointing at Y. It's all right there for you. Why are they not jumping on this shit and just making a killing? And literally destroying China at the same time. Because China's jumping on it. You could wipe out everybody and be the man. The sole source. You could do it. Because you have the money and you have the infrastructure to do it. They're just not doing it. Why not?
We can't even get them to list to people to get vaccinations when they're dropping over dead.
Master Grant, I'm not too worried about those assholes at this point.
I know. I read your posts.
Yeah. Let them drop over dead at this point.
Well,
Darwin's
the issue is
theory. Oh.
if there's enough on them, they're going to create another variant. What are we going to call it? The redneck Mississippi type beat?
There you go. Why not?
It's the Ozark variant.
Yeah, that's it. The Appalachian variant.
The Appalachian variant.
Break out in fucking stupidity.
Holy shit. Speaking of stupidity, their Fuhrer, Trump, sued Google, Facebook, and Twitter. He filed a class action lawsuit seeking cumulative damages to represent broader complaints about social media policies. What part of this whole thing do these folks not understand whenever there's all those words that literally no one pays attention to? And all of those words somewhere in there says, basically, we can do what we want and there's nothing you can do about it. Do you agree to it? And they say, yes, okay. And all of a sudden they have a platform now. Now they're pissed off because the person who owns, or the company or whatever that owns the platform doesn't agree with what they're doing.
What's the difference between that and a baker saying he won't make a cake for a gay couple?
Literally nothing.
Same thing.
Literally nothing. Master Grant, how many?
My question is, where is he getting the money to file this lawsuit?
He's not.
Because
That's
he's
the
going up
point.
against the big boys.
Well, as soon as he announced the lawsuit, there was stuff out there on the internet. Donate to this cause, to this platform.
So which tells you what? There's a whole lot of attorneys, well, a whole lot more attorneys who aren't going to get paid.
And a whole lot of people getting grifted again.
And they just
And a
do
whole
it.
lot of attorneys will be losing their licenses in the not so distant future.
Literally.
And you know what? Dershowitz took this case. He's a constitutional professor. He knows damn well that it doesn't stand a chance.
No chance in hell. No
He
chance.
knows that. You can't tell me he doesn't know that.
His biggest case, he won solely through incompetence from the other side. And people don't get that. Okay?
So this is a big marketing ploy then.
Sure it is. Everything this asshole has done has been nothing but a marketing ploy. Everything he's done. He's on the hook for a lot of shit that I don't think he planned on being on the hook for, and he can't figure out a way out of it. So being as the personality that he is, he's just going to continue to double and triple down on the same bullshit. It's all been marketing for him. Well, I take that back. It hasn't been all been marketing. He also wanted to try to stick it to the black guy who fucked him over and ended up being president. Right? So he wanted to do that. So there was a race issue involved in that too. But this guy doesn't. He's just doing shit for people to keep sending him money. And we all know assholes that, I promise you, we all know assholes that are doing it. They're sending him money. We all know them. Lou, we may know the same people.
I'm sure.
I mean, I bet there's an overlap. If you take the circle of people around me who are sending him money and the circle of people around you who are sending him money, there's going to be an overlap. I promise there is. We're in Mayberry.
Yeah, it's that's all it is. It's he's making money on it, and I believe. Oh, I just saw something here too in the fine print of Facebook. If you press a lawsuit against him, you have to actually file it in California court.
Where do you file it? In D.C.?
I think.
Well, here's the other thing. This is how brilliant it is, Master Grant. If he wins whatever the hell he sued for, whatever the fuck that is. But if he loses, he gets to be the victim again and tell all these people how they're all getting fucked. So he can set up the next grift. It's there. There's not a downside to this for him.
So if they call him to the stand, if this lawsuit goes forward and say, the reason you were banned is because of the 1/6 insurrection, so why don't you start telling us how the planning and everything happened with this?
Well, that would be on his attorneys, though, wouldn't it?
So how do you defend him? I mean, the defense attorney would say, well, it was over 1/6. Tell us what you did or didn't do. And by the way, you're under oath, but he don't give a shit. He'll lie anyhow.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He didn't care about the oath he took whenever he was president. He sure as fuck isn't going to care about the oath he takes in a courtroom. That means nothing to him. Master Grant, he's playing this like a champ. Win or lose, he wins.
Yeah, remember he's had what 6 months to plan all this. So hold on a second, guys. I gotta check something.
Okay.
I'll be back.
I mean, you think he's been planning, but he's never planned for anything in his life. Isn't he usually off the cuff?
Yeah, but I mean, he knows his audience. Okay? He knows his audience. And the one thing we've always said, this guy knows entertainment. And he knows how to entertain. And at the end of the day, all of this has been nothing but entertainment for him. It's that same business model. He's in the entertainment field. He doesn't give a fuck. Look at Vince McMahon in the WWE or WWF or whatever the fuck it's called now, right? He made an ass of himself more times than any human ever should. But he did it because it was nothing but entertainment. It meant nothing to him. And now this guy, he's the only game in town. He doesn't care. Why the hell would Trump? You remember a few weeks back, whenever that asshole Marjorie Taylor Greene visited a Holocaust museum?
Yeah.
Apologized for previously comparing coronavirus mask policies to the Nazi practice of labeling Jews with the Star of David. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That was last week. Because now, weeks after her visit to the Holocaust Museum, this same asshole made a new Nazi-era comparison and opposing the latest COVID vaccine push She used the phrase medical brown shirts to describe officials and volunteers who are encouraging Americans to get vaccinated. Are you fucking kidding me? She did it just to shut people up. And now she's back doing the same bullshit again. She's been in what, 6 months? 8 months?
6 months.
And she's a walking disgrace. Lou, there's no other way to put it. She is a walking disgrace.
Well,
And
she's
she-
one of how many there, though?
And she keeps getting donations. She's getting so many donations, it's unbelievable. And she's a walking disgrace. In correlation to that, in a book by Michael Bender that's coming out, Trump told his chief of staff in 2018 that Hitler did a lot of good things. He did a lot of good things. Not real sure what those good things are. I mean, he was really able to. He was very efficient in killing a whole bunch of people. So that, I guess that's a positive thing. He upped the efficiency. See a lot of similarities between these two pieces of shit, don't you?
Who, between Hitler and Trump, or Hitler and Green, or all three?
Well, Green and Trump.
Green and Trump. Well, same thing.
Yeah. One's a little easier to look at.
Not by much.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
A little.
Not by much. That horse-faced.
Ooh, you guys are getting nasty.
Am I wrong?
I'm not saying
Look at her. She's like a freaking horse.
I'm not saying that. I didn't
You
say
put
that.
a carrot, dangle a carrot in there, she'll follow you around. If you say, what's her name from, the movie Frankenstein?
Oh,
Rob
from
Rupert. She'll probably couldn't help herself.
Cloris Leachman. Yeah, Cloris Leachman's character. That's a great movie.
too many steroids hit her brain. That's what it looks like, honest to God.
Yeah, it does.
She owned a gym or whatever, and she was screwing the gym teacher or whatever he was, the trainer.
There you go. And yet we're not going to. We're just going to drop our standards for folks like this because we like what they say. Right? Character be damned. We like what they say.
Like what they say. But my God, they have a shit fit when Joe Biden stops at a local place and gets an ice cream cone.
Right? Right? Master Grant, I have to believe that this audience that they're targeting, and like I say, I have to believe it because that's the only way I could sleep at night, is diminishing. And it doesn't have the numbers that they think they have.
Tell you what, I read an article, it was last week or earlier this week, it was by a conservative columnist. And basically what he said is all these scare tactics that they're using on their existing diminishing audience doesn't work on Generation Z because they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck. We've been saying that
You
for
said
how long?
that.
How long have we been saying that? They don't give a
Gay people, so what?
So what?
National debt, so what?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna pitch the national debt to people who will never be able to afford a house. Do you think they give a fuck about the national debt?
No, they do not.
They don't. They don't care. It doesn't even register with them. They don't care what it is. They don't want to know what it is. It means literally nothing to them. Master Grant, we said this is a dying demographic. The problem is they're just not dying quick enough. Right?
They might be by October.
With COVID, right? Am I missing something?
Well, we
Somebody,
know that this whole media, this whole entertainment news media is a dying dinosaur. It's going the way of the newspaper.
Mhm.
I mean, the people that watch it, they're dying out. The boomers are dying out. The early boomers, and so their demographic is just decreasing year by year, and they're not gaining new traction. They're getting the fringe. So eventually it'll be, their influence will be, severely restricted. Still have influence. You're still always going to have, people turning it on and get brainwashed and suckered into it, but nowhere near the power that they had, like when Rush Limbaugh was at the wheel.
no, Lou. I mean, this is why we have such a worker shortage, because the boomers just aren't working.
Well, they were the largest generation. Millennials were smaller.
The millennials were smaller than us, and Gen Z is smaller than the millennials.
Then you got before X comes along. So, you know what? And the more I read about that worker shortage, a lot of it comes down, there's a lot of mitigating factors on it.
Yeah.
It's not just one thing,
No. We said for over a year, that whenever we get out of this pandemic, whenever we finally make our way through, and it looks like we're on our way out, we're not there yet, but we're on our way out. A lot of things that people, even on both sides of the aisle, even on our side, and Donnie Deutsch is one of them on MSNBC, still don't get that this old structure, this old way of doing these things, of having these businesses and doing these things, that's gone away. That's gone away now, because for the first time, maybe ever, at least since the 19 teens, we have an even playing field now between those who create jobs and those who are working those jobs. Because of this pandemic, those who are working these jobs are now creating their own jobs. And they're using far different business models than these old assholes are doing. And these old assholes want and like I said, it's even on our side, want the people who have the job to be grateful to have the job. Right? And that's not necessarily the case anymore, because I've shown over these last 12, 14 months, I don't need you. I can either survive on my own, or I can create my own business now. I can create my own startup. I can create my own thing, where not only do I not need you, I'm going to compete against you now.
And you had a whole shit ton of people working from home and finding out they were more productive both ways, home and at work. And now that they're told to come back to the office, they're asking, you know what? Just like you said, maybe I'll do my own, or I'll find somebody to let me stay at home and work, where I don't have to go in and be exposed to possible COVID. I don't have to drive through traffic. I don't have to buy good clothes for the office.
To come back to work for you is actually costing me.
Because I saw one discussion, and it was like, well, would you give up 10% of your salary to stay at home instead of going to the office?
That was on LinkedIn, yeah.
Was that LinkedIn?
Yeah.
It was like, fuck no, why should I? You should pay me an extra 10% on the money you're saving from opening the office.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm going to push back a little bit. on that. We put in, workers who work from home put in far more hours
Yeah.
Exactly.
than who work at the office.
Yeah.
I mean, I started this morning at 5:30,
Yeah.
and I'm not done yet. I'm still effing around
Right.
with crap.
Right.
You know,
That's the point.
and I'm so what? I'm on 11 hours now.
Mhm.
Now I was going to the office. I wouldn't have answered the phone. Wait till I get there. Get in at 8, 9. Work on my way home. I'm not dealing with this.
Right. But the point is, you're far more productive. You're putting in far more time. You're actually a better employee. Never
And
going to.
I wouldn't take a cut. No, you owe me more probably. I just like you said, I started early, and while I'm sitting here, didn't I get something from Washington State because they're 3 hours behind?
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Whereas
it's
if
3:18
you're in the
there.
office-
They're working.
If you're in the office, you don't even see that until sometime tomorrow.
Nope. And because of that, I'll be up early and have everything ready to get put in for that order and whatever other questions there might be.
Right. So you're actually more productive. Even if there was a way to limit the number of hours, which there really isn't. I mean, you can try, but you're not going to. Why your boss? Your boss. Ever
Losing your sound there. You must be.
Yeah, you're frozen.
okay.
Yeah, you're frozen. You may want to stop your video for a moment. Kind of let your internet catch up. So while we're waiting,
Yeah, but I agree. You're more productive at home. You get things done, and actually, there's times during the day when be like, you know what, I need to walk away from this for a half hour.
yeah, exactly. Because you know what I've been doing is at lunchtime I've been running. I go out and I run for an hour, and I've been doing it religiously because I need that. I need that break. I
You
need
need a
that.
mental break.
Yeah, and I got to get away, and I can't. I just got to untether, and so I go and run. And I run for about, it's about an hour. Let's just say an hour. Sometimes it's 55. Sometimes it's an hour. But I go out, I do 4 or 5 miles. Then I come back, and I check my emails, check messages, see if there's nothing urgent. And then sometimes I'll just towel off and get changed, or sometimes I shower, get back at it. And for me, that's been very pleasant to be able to do. And I like that. That helps me during the day because then I come back and I'm ready to go. Whereas before, like if I don't do that, geez, by 2-3 o'clock, I'm like, I got to take Red Bull because I'm falling asleep.
That and you're frustrated sometimes. I was like hot all afternoon because my day started with supposed to go to a job site in West Mifflin. I get there and they say, "Oh, we can't do anything for you today because it's raining and the iron workers called off. I can't move anything." So I got to go back Monday, hour and a half. And if you know where West Mifflin is. There's no easy way to get to West Mifflin. I don't care which way you go.
No,
Yeah.
Take your pick of 6. There ain't one better than the other.
Yeah.
So the argument is, I hope you guys can hear me better now. Am I good?
Yes.
Okay. You have more engaged, more productive, better equipped employees with the model that both of you are working in. Why the hell would anybody want to change that unless it's just a pure matter of insecurity and wanting to, micromanage things, which is not a good quality to have for somebody has people under them. right? What would your boss, either of you, what would your boss ever want you to go back into the office for an 8-hour day, knowing the production and everything they're getting out of you? Why would they want to do it? What's the benefit?
Well, yeah, what is the benefit? And me, you, and Dina sat there, and half the day we started making fun of people.
Yeah. Yeah. We were in the same office. We're just sitting there and, oh, yeah. Oh, God, Master Grant, if you'd have heard some of the shit that we said, it's probably a good thing you didn't.
There was no productivity there.
None.
Yeah. Lou, I had I do have a comment before. I had a customer who was in East McKeesport, which is just on the other side of the river.
Right.
Mifflin. And there is no easy way to get out there.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It is just a god awful drive. But there are some people that need to be in an office because they need to have that people they need that direction. They need that being monitored. They need that I'm at work, I'm here to do a job, because they don't have the discipline to work from home, because they get at home and then they're playing video games, they're watching the kids,
Hey, that's what I do.
Hey, I'll tell you what, and I just thought of somebody that was in our office, Patsy, that was exactly that.
Our inside sales guy.
You know what? And it takes a good manager to recognize that. I mean, there was somebody there that could not work on their own.
No. He never could.
If he's in an office, he was great. You just sit here and do this, and he did it like a drone all day.
Until there was a little hiccup, come in our office and just motherfuck the world.
And then he'd go back.
But then you go back.
Yeah, but I think what the pandemic has done is it really has shown the value of the remote workforce, which was kind of always on the kind of like it wasn't an acceptable form of business. Now, somebody like me working as a consultant, that was fine because I was in business for myself. But if I was employed by somebody, I constantly had to I have to be on site. But now that's kind of broken. And so even like where I am, I used to have to be on site like 2 weeks out of the month. And so now 1 week out of every 2 months, I don't know. It's still needed. There's still a lot of value with being there in person, to have the face-to-face, to have the back and forth, what's the word? To be able to, when you're working together, not commingle, but
interaction. I know what you mean. It's, but you know what? You think about this, and you're a little younger than me, but still, when you started out your working career, I was talking about this with a customer. He said, remember when we used to mail quotes back and forth? And then we had an orders, and he says, then we got a fax machine.
Yeah.
And then the internet and email.
Because I started when I worked in Los Angeles for a Japanese company, and we would mail things back and forth between the head office and the branch offices in Los Angeles, all by mail. And then came the fax, and it revolutionized every now we're getting messages like overnight. And then came the FedEx, and FedEx would, boy, every day, so been a lot of changes.
That you